Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're talking about my currently new favorite reciprocating saw or saber saw, this one right here. This is the Metabo HPT or Hitachi Power Tools Multivolt 36 volt reciprocating saw. Some people call it a saber saw. Anyways, long story short, it's designed to do a job and it does the job really well. And for a lot of reasons, it's one of my favorite ones to go to, at least ones right now. But it is not perfect. It almost is. So we're gonna go over this tool top to bottom, see how it stands up against some of the other reciprocating saws in the market. Stick with us. All right guys, so this right here is the Metabo HPT 36 volt multi-volt reciprocating saw, model number CR36DAQ4. If you look at the tool itself, it really says CR36DA. But I mean, it's got this weird naming scheme. I'm not really sure how they really come up with these model numbers on these tools, but on this one, that's what it is. Anyways, not too long ago, Metabo acquired HPT, Hitachi Power Tools, and kind of rebranded all that stuff into real Metabo, or as some of the purists will call it. And then the Hitachi Power Tools part of it to, Metabo HPT. So this one is on their MultiVolt platform, and in case you didn't know what that was, it is a single battery pack, almost like the FlexVolt, that can go between 36 volt and 18 volts. With the DeWalt FlexVolt stuff, it's really got three sets of batteries in series that pretty much change between parallel and series configuration. Whereas this one, it has two sets in series that really changes between parallel and series configuration. So if you run, like for instance, this battery right here, which is an 8 amp hour 18 volt battery, but if you run it in a multi-volt tool, it runs as a 36 volt battery 4 amp hours. Anyways, long story short, let's get into some of the marketing hype and then we'll bring you in closer and take a better look at it. So this right here is a 36 volt multi-volt cordless reciprocating saw. It is a power of a corded saw in a cordless platform. The saw incorporates using a 36 volt power battery and has a 4-speed stage selector that ranges between 1700 SPM to 3000 SPM. That's strokes per minute. It does have optional orbital action, which means you can turn it on or off. It has low vibration. It has a technology which they call vibration protection, which decreases vibration by incorporating a dual counterweight system. So that actually works really well. We're going to talk more about that later. This one includes a Rafter metal hook, or metal Rafter hook, and the 36 volt multi-volt platform can be run on the 36 volt batteries, or you can buy an optional AC adapter, which, like I said, you could buy that one separately, but I can't really see how a lot of people actually use that in real life, okay? The stroke length of this tool is 1 1/4 inch stroked. According to the marketing hype, it says on a 36 volt battery platform, it can do up to 100 cross cuts per charge in 2x12 wood. Obviously, that depends on what kind of batteries and stuff that you're using in your environment. The technology configuration of this is pretty much, you've got the multi-volt battery, you've got orbital mode. It's got speed selector, variable speed trigger. This one is brushless. It has an onboard LED tool, and also it is covered by a limited lifetime tool body warranty. All right, so if you're holding the tool, this left-hand part of the tool, okay, all this black stuff here is rubber overmold, and I will point out this rubber overmold is pretty thick, as you can see right here. It's a pretty thick rubber overmold, and this tool is built pretty hefty, and this rubber overmold is really no exception. It's almost too thick, I would say. I do appreciate that they made it really thick. One thing I ran into is that I think it's because it's so thick, it has a little bit more difficult time dissipating some of the heat that's generated in there. It kind of keeps it more enclosed or insulated, which, a lot of the heat kind of escapes through the fins, drawing air out and stuff like that. But I just wanted to point that out because a couple times I've had it thermal out. But I mean, we were pushing this all really hard and it was like a really big demo, right? But under normal usage or like a normal person using it, you probably won't have too many of the problems. But I will point out, you can push it too hard and it will thermal out and it will start blinking and time out and won't let you go too much further until it cools down, okay? Just want to point that out. This part right here, UVP, user vibration protection, that's the dual counterweight balancing mechanism they have in there. The basic design of that is it really has other counterweights to negate the vibration that is introduced by the reciprocating action. It does work pretty well. It's really comparable, I would say, in terms of feel to the Makita AVT anti-vibration technology. Those two feel like pretty similar. I wouldn't say it's exactly the same, but it does work really well, okay? This tool is brushless, as you would expect. This select selector mechanism right here. This means orbital mode off. This means orbital mode on. They both work really well. I don't find myself needing to use orbital. Orbital, I think, actually feels like it cuts faster, but the amount of vibration you would think would be introduced by using orbital is not as significant as you would, or as you think, right? In some tools, orbital mode, it just feels like really rough. On this tool, you can tell it's just a slightly bit more, but it's not like that significant. But the performance is generally, I would say, a little bit better. At least I feel like it is. The other thing to point out on here is, Metabo HPT emblems, stickers, and all the stuff going in on here. Moving around to the back part of it. So this right here is a pretty much, handle. Black rubber over mold. It's got a pretty big variable speed trigger there. You can use 2 fingers or you can use 1 finger. It doesn't have the little plastic part that, sections off the trigger finger. And I do appreciate that, mainly because if you're doing a lot of demo work, you're most likely going to be using reciprocating saw a lot, and you're probably going to be wearing gloves. So having a big variable speed trigger that you can use with 2 fingers is really helpful, okay? The thing going on back here is this button right here will turn the LED light on the front here on and off. And this tornado looking button right here will let you cycle through the speeds. It's got 4 speed selection, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll go through some of that stuff here. I'm gonna take the battery, drop it in here. All right, so right now we'll start here on mode 1 and show you some of the variable speed action if you look at the trigger here. Go to mode 2. Mode 3. Mode 4. Back to mode 1. So that part here works really well. As you can see here, there is an LED light. If I press the button again, the LED light turns off, okay? Push the button, turns on, turns off. So that part there works pretty well. So moving around to the back part here, the other thing you can see a little bit more clear here is the lock safety switch. If you have it, press in from the left to the right, it's locked. Put in from right to the left, it is, unlocked or, ready. This right here is the Rafter Hook. It's a pretty pretty small Rafter Hook. It doesn't feel like a heavy duty, big one that you would primarily see. May probably do the weight savings or whatnot, but we don't really have any issues with the performance or durability of this, but it is nice that they did include that there. This side is pretty much almost exactly the same as the, the other side, except, emblems and marketing hype and that kind of stuff. So moving around to the bottom part here, as you can see from this bottom part, this part of the tool is a lot thicker and this part is a lot narrowed down. As you can see from the top, it probably feels the same way too. That's really nice, mainly because, not everybody has super massive hands to be holding it like this up here. Some people, like to hold it here and it kind of, thins out for, better comfort and ergonomics, right? So this right here is a shoe adjustment mechanism, right? So the shoe does extend and retract. It doesn't come all the way off. I'm sure you could probably find a way to take it all the way off, but I just haven't had any to do that. It does extend and retract, and you find it one of the grooves that it locks into, you lock it and it's there. A lot of times it does help extend some of the blade life if you are cutting, maybe like really short EMT and you have a metal blade and you just want to use the maximum life of that metal blade, right? So other stuff going around on the bottom here. So this right here is the battery engagement mechanism, right? So like the Makita and some of the other tools, they have a metal insert here that really helps slide on and off the batteries and allows or increases the durability or reliability of this. As you would imagine, a reciprocating tool has a lot of vibration, and having that there really stiffens this up and also lets it last longer. This black part right here is a rubberized design. It's a lot softer than the rubber here. It is there to help reduce or absorb some of that vibration between the tool and the battery. Makita does something similar like that. They kind of have like gel inserts here to help absorb some of that vibration. But to show you what that really does, if I take this here, put it in there, right? The rubber parts are touching the battery, and it kind of helps, isolate or absorb some of the vibration between the tool and the battery itself, okay? So now let's talk about the business end of the tool. The business end, this front end right here. As you can imagine, it doesn't have a quick change lever or blade change lever anywhere on here. You do have to rotate the blade clamp mechanism that for right now is actually inserted all the way in here. Okay, so that, sorry about that. So that is inside here, and that's one of the reasons, one of the downsides of this tool. Like for whatever reason, if the blade you need to take the blade off or put a new blade on or whatever, you need to get the blade out, it's stuck in here. So you do sometimes, you know, you can't just like pull it in there. Sometimes you probably could grab the blade and pull it out. I would recommend you don't do that for safety reasons. So in order to do that, you know, you just put the battery in, play with it to a certain point where you get the clamp mechanism out here, right, to about that part. And you can take the battery out, safety reasons, right? And then you can, you know, move the blade clamp mechanism in whichever direction you need to undo the blade. So let's talk about that. This blade clamp mechanism is almost the exact opposite of almost all the other ones we've used so far. So this blade clamp mechanism, what I mean by that is in order to unlock it, you take, for a right-handed person, okay, you're usually on this side and you're holding it this way. The right-handed person, usually most tools, you take it and you rotate it like this part goes up. On this tool, for some reason, you take it and you rotate it downwards, okay, so it rotates this way. That is pretty much the exact opposite, like I said, of all the other tools I've used so far. So it always gets me when I go to use this thing, and it's not like a fast eject either, right? So what you would do is, you know, you would take this, rotate it down, put the blade in, and because I'm trying to do it in a really awkward position, for me it's going to be a little bit challenging, right? So the blade's locked in. Once the blade is locked in, haven't had an issue with it falling out, but if you do want to take it out, it's pretty much the same operation. You push it, you pull it out, and it's not like it locks there, right? So when you go in and put a new blade in, you know, it doesn't really go in, okay? So that's pretty much the biggest downside of this tool, I would call it. I think I alluded earlier, it's almost a favorite, or it is a favorite tool, so almost perfect. I feel like this blade clamp mechanism, one, is going in the wrong direction for us, at least in the States. I don't know if the other tools in, you know, other countries, if that's the right direction, who knows? But if they had either one, actually it would be perfect if they had it, you know, keep open like the Makita one, so that when you unlocked it, it just spits the blade out, and then you can just, you know, quick insert and not have to mess with this. And it would be nice if they had like a lever or something on one of the sides, so you don't have to always reach in here, because sometimes this head is retracted in here and you can't even get to it anyways, okay? So that's what's really going on with this tool. But other than that, without too much further ado, let's get into some testing. All right, hope y'all caught those numbers because those numbers actually went by really, really fast. So let's go take a look at the numbers. Remember, we only have right now this 4 amp hour multi-volt 36 volt battery, aka 8 amp hour 18 volt battery. So first we ran the tool in orbital off mode, new blade, remind you, just since we haven't done a video in this series for a while, just give you a quick update. We pretty much took, 2x8 headers, embedded 3/8" OSB in between and put, what is it, like 12 16D nails, roughly about 1 inch apart, and then pretty much had it, make 4 cuts. First 2 are drop weight cuts, and the 3rd and 4th runs are user input cuts. So just to keep that in mind. So let's go take a look at the numbers. New blade, fully charged battery, cool tool. First run on with orbital off took 9.03 seconds, second run 8.88 seconds, and third run 8.42 seconds, and the fourth run 8.67 seconds. Okay, you take an average of the 4 runs, comes in at 8.75 seconds. All right, so that means the total performance score of this tool is 8.75, right? If you take only the user part of it, it comes down to about 8.55. Therefore, what does that mean? If you're pushing it harder as a user rather than, I forgot how much that jack thing weighs, but if you just, push hard on it, you can get a little bit faster, but not like significantly faster, as we've seen in some tools so far. So we let the tool cool down for a couple hours, came back, had another fully charged battery and a brand new blade, same blade, and we did the same test again, except we did orbital on. And let's see how that turned out. First run, 7.97 seconds. Second run, 7.93 seconds. Third run, 6.23 seconds. And the fourth run, 6.43 seconds, all right? Taking an average of the 4 runs comes in at 7.14 seconds. Bam, that's fast, okay? If you take the user average, it comes in around 6.33. So yes, with orbital on, it gets a little bit more aggressive. If you put more user input into it, you can get a faster cut, okay? And the strokes per minute is around 3,000. We already covered 1.25 inch stroke, and the work done is roughly around, 3,750 inches per minute, I guess you could call it that if you wanted to. So let's go take a look at the total performance score, right? So with orbital off, the total performance score was 8.75. Where does that put that? Bam, first place. That is ahead of the Milwaukee Super Sawzall with a 12 amp hour high output battery, which had a total performance score of 9.34, okay? On that one, if you did the user only part, the last 2 runs, it comes out to about 7.90. I just wanted to point that out, but because some of the tools do better if you put more user input in on that, but it is what it is. So that one's currently in first place, and then we ran it with orbital on. So with orbital on, the total performance score came out to 7.14. Bam, that's even faster than the first one, which had 8.75, right? So with orbital on, this currently is the fastest performing reciprocating saw that we've tested so far, 7.14, insanely fast. The next one would be the same tool with orbital off, 8.75. Then the Milwaukee Super Sawzall 9.34. Then the Makita Grj01, which is 9.73. Then the Makita Super Sawzall with a 12 amp hour high output battery with orbital off. Then the Grj01, which is a Makita XGT 40 volt, which had 9.88, which is kind of tied with the Milwaukee Super Sawzall with orbital off and high output battery. Okay, so those are pretty much the bigger, higher capacity saws. What I mean by that is higher voltage, more performance, or upper tier of reciprocating saws. If you want to talk about that, so let's talk about that for just a second. Okay, so this right here is the Makita Grj01. Okay, actually I'll put it right here. This Makita Grj01, I really like it, and I think there was a commenter in one of the videos, either between this one and the Milwaukee Super Sawzall. I actually really like this one too. I actually like all of them. There's only a few that I don't like, but I do like this one a lot. And there's a lot of reasons for it. One, it just feels really refined, right? And building on that part, this tool, the Hitachi or Metabo HPT tool, also has a really good sense of refinement. It just feels nice when you use it, okay? The Rafter Hook is almost pretty much exactly the same, But the downside to this Makita Grj01 is that it does not have AVT on it or orbital mode on it, okay? And that's one of the biggest complaints I think I've had, at least personally with this. Personally, I don't really care too much about the orbital mode or action itself. What I do care about though is the AVT or active feedback technology, which they don't have on here. But this tool has a lot of benefits going for it, right? It's also got the retractable shoe going, you know, extending easily. And this one has the blade clamp quick lock or lever mechanism that allows you to, you know, not have to worry about where the head is in on here in order to exchange the blade. It's got a lot of dust and, you know, sawdust in here, so it doesn't slide as easily as it originally did, but it still works really well, okay? Not having to worry about, you know, the head being stuck in here, trying to push it out, get it in. And also, it does still have the quick mechanism in on here, so if you do put it in right here, right? It just locks in. I don't have to even worry about this, right? Because once I unlock it, right, it'll stays open and I can just put the blade back in without having to, watch this, worry about this, right? So that one is obviously really good. I do really appreciate that. One of the other primary reasons why I really like using this tool, if it had, you know, that AVT active feedback technology, it would be even better, right? So, spoiler alert, it is out in Europe and other places, I would say. The Grj02 addresses pretty much, I would say, all the shortcomings of this Grj01. So we're really looking forward to getting that tool because I really like this tool. And as you can see in some of the size comparison, this Hitachi or Metabo HPT tool is quite significantly bigger, right, than this Metabo or the Makita tool. And that's probably because, you know, it's got the counterweight balancing systems and all that kind of fun stuff in there. So that's what's really going on there, okay? So what can we really say about this tool, okay? Let's close this out. This is a great tool. This is probably one of my favorite reciprocating saws in the market right now. My two favorite right now are this one and the Makita one. Like I said, they both have a really good sense of refinement. It feels nice. If I had a vibration meter or something like that, we could probably put it on there and see what it looks like. But they just feel like it's a highly refined, engineered, really well-engineered tool when it works. This one has another thing going for it right now. Is obviously it's the fastest cutting one, right? It's got orbital on, orbital off, kind of got some of the shortcomings. So if you could build the perfect reciprocating saw, right, it would be pretty much the performance of this one, right, with the blade mechanism of this one, right? And then for me personally, I would say be on this Makita platform, mainly because the Hitachi platform, sure, they've been out for a while. I personally just don't have a lot of the multi-volt batteries. I think we're getting more as we're buying a lot of these tools online. That's another good point to tell you. This video is not sponsored. Nobody sent us this tool. We did buy this tool with their own monies. And another thing to talk about is this tool right now is a really, really, really great deal. So you can buy this tool. I believe tool only is about $199, but it comes at this time when I record the video of the posting, you can buy the tool and it comes with this 4/8 amp hour battery and the charger for roughly around $199, okay? There's a few retailers that are doing it, but you just Google around, you could probably find some. But I was able to pick this one up with their own monies for around 200 bucks. So like I said, that includes the battery and the charger. The downside to the Makita one is you probably can't even get the Makita XGT battery alone for 200 bucks. And then try to buy this tool alone, right? This tool alone is probably gonna be like about 200 bucks also. So it has cost going against it. This has cost and performance going for and a sense of refinement, right? So this one I would say is really up there with the Makita one. Other than that, you know, like I said, this is really just my personal opinion, but the numbers can speak for themselves. You know, some people, if you have, you know, a bunch of HPT tools, Metabo HPT tools, this is probably the great saw to get, right? If you don't have any HPT tools, I would say, yeah, I would look into getting this one, especially since it'll get you into that platform and include another battery. And you get one of the top end reciprocating saws you currently can get. And I know a lot of people are gonna point this out. They have like an AC charger battery mechanism thing that you can plug into the wall and it plugs in here like that. I personally don't care at all for that. I would much rather just spend extra money on another battery so I don't have to do that at all. But that's just me. So If you're in the, Milwaukee platform, just get the Milwaukee Super Sawzall if that's up to you. But if you're gonna ask me which recip saw to buy right now, that I would personally recommend, it would either be this one as a kit for 200 bucks or the Makita Grj01. I do have the XRJ06, which is the dual 18-volt battery one too. I do really like that one. For some reason, I feel like the refinement in that one is a little bit better than the refinement in this one. But any one of those three are probably going to be the ones to get right now, or at least I would recommend. But you probably can't go wrong with any of this one, that one, or the Milwaukee one. I would probably recommend you stay away from the DeWalt one. That's just me. The Flex one I think is also okay too. I haven't really had too many problems with it. It's got some idiosyncrasies here and there, but what can we say? This video is already going on too long because we're jibber jabbering. So that's what we can only say about the tool. If you had any questions or anything else, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day. Go build something awesome and see you guys next time.